Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Dave finally got to go out. This episode here is going to be the 9 items that the viewer selected the number of items to take out on a little adventure. So we got 9 items. So I'll get you guys reset. We'll take a look at the 9 items I got for today. All right, just up front, you guys can see real quick, we got our stainless steel canteen. That will be our source of water. And this, we are actually capable of boiling water in if we need to sanitize water to drink. By the way, I came prepared. I brought my raincoat to wear. I'm not counting that as one of my items. That's just my clothing item. But it was supposed to rain today, or chance of it, so came prepared for that. All right. I decided to bring an old classic Ontario 18-inch machete. This one's pretty old, had a lot of hard use. Okay, all right, and combustion device. We got our Zippo lighter. And the case on my hip came with the accoutrements that came with it. The Leatherman Wave. That's going to be our primary tool, cutting tool, and just tool in general. And I decided also to bring, that's a Swiss Victorinox Farmer, I think, and A-locks. We do not have a lot with us today. 9 items. This is a little kit I put together a long time ago. It's got a lot of random screws and stuff for, well, I'll just leave it for a surprise and I'll show you guys later. All right. And we have our number 21 nylon cordage and lots of it. And I decided to bring our stove. I was going to just do a basic review on this one. I still might separately, but I like that one. And just the isobutane that goes with it. And I think we're just about finished with our items, guys. Yep, that's it. All right, let me get this stuff packed back up here real quick, guys, and we'll get right back with you. All right, guys, the order of the day is going to be pretty simple. And I did forget one of the items we got for candling. We got just a simple little cheap 1 AAA battery flashlight there. But we're going to keep it fairly simple today. We're just going to take some short hikes around. We're going to see what else we can find to supplement the kit that we got. You know, any situation we're in, scavenging is always allowed. So we find containers or what line, rope, whatever we can find, you know. The area we're in has suffered some flooding over the last couple of weeks. It's been quite a bit of rain here, so I'll show you spin the camera around and show you the area immediately in front of me here. Yeah, so we are going to be in quite muddy and wet conditions most likely, so should be fun. All right, with all that being said, it's not even really a good place to put a tripod. I'll get everything cinched up and we'll get to it and see what we can't find. Alrighty guys, we'll hike around here, see what we can't find, and we'll look for somewhat of a decent spot to set up. I mean, most of this outfit here is actually not too bad, relatively flat, plenty of down trees, pine trees, a lot of them down too, which would be good. We get fire making material out of that, fat wood if nothing else. Find it good when you're in a wooded area. Just take a few paces, stop, look around, listen. Sometimes you can there'll be animals in the area that you might not know they're there. You know, give you a chance to spot them. And of course, obviously, you want to watch where you're walking from time to time, glancing down often. Look out for snakes, snags, down logs, stuff. You don't trip and fall and hurt yourself. We'll turn the camera around here for you and get a good look at what we're hiking around in. A lot of our terrain's going to be pretty decent for hiking as far as this area goes, but there's obviously going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be in the way. So walking in the straight lines is usually not much of a thing out here. Some, you know, just rare occasions. So, but like I said, for as difficult as out here in West Virginia goes, this little area I'm in right now is actually quite good. Now the gear we got with us today is not by any means all inclusive, nor would be my typical loadout. However, being that we're doing a little bit of a challenge, that's why we got our 9 items. And thank you all you subscribers who on the community posting was picking the numbers of items I could carry with me. So that's how we got our 9 items. That looks like a pretty good spot down there actually to set up. We'll see about that later. So now another important thing is the environment I'm in. I wore my muck boots today. Not particularly crazy about hiking in muck boots, but I knew the conditions that I would be in. We'll just spin the camera around here again so I can show you something what I'm talking about. All right. See all that funny looking mud and dirt on the leaves? Now clear down there is a river, and the water level went clear up, and we're still going uphill. Starting to look like we're starting to get out of it now. Yeah, roughly, and you can see the leaves and mud trapped into there. These thorns and brambles here. The water actually got up that high. So this area has been heavily flooded, and we're going to deal with a lot of muck and mud. But that's pretty typical. Some of these areas out here that are a little more low laying. Plus, I don't mind the boots. Snakes, copperheads, and stuff are out now. So, and my muck boots are steel-toed. You know, now we're starting to come into some more of a difficulty to walk. You can see that there in the background. That's going to start getting far more difficult for us to traverse through. So the best thing we can do is stay up high, try to walk around that, find a better, safer place for us to actually walk. All right, I think we're starting to get to where we're going to settle on a spot potentially. I'm walking down to it now, but you know, it could be too muddy. Might be just a absolute mucky, muddy mess. Yeah, it's starting not to look too great, guys. There's a bit of a natural ditch coming off the hill here, and it is quite muddy. However, we'll see what we can do. And there are some animal tracks. There's definitely been deer here, geese. Wow, yeah, definitely geese. I'm actually surprised we don't see any. It's pretty fresh. Oh, and goose poop. Hold on, I'll spin this around here. Goose. Goose track. Deer track. Surprised we are not seeing raccoon and whatnot either. More sign for deer. Not a bad spot. We could definitely try to fish. I'm not seeing much for scavenging though. I was hoping to find some at least containers. However, I don't think we're going to. Usually when it floods, it's the best time to find items. Anyways, wondering what those are. That was made by crabs. This area is not bad. I think we can work with this. Oh, hey. Goose. If I can zoom in, maybe. There we go. Surprised he's not, or she, whichever, was not honking at me. Yeah. The odd thing is, I do see some items and debris cleaning across the other side of the river far on that bank, but that does not help us in our current situation. I'm not going swimming to go get those, but we got a decent spot here, and I think we can set up a little bit of a little base camp kind of thing here if needs be. Taking it easy on the water, that's all I got. And whereas I can bull this river water, it's not ideal. Now I could sacrifice, since I'm layered, this t-shirt to filter the water through to put in this canteen if I have to bull again, which will cut down on the turbidity of the water. It's not ideal, but if we get into what you may consider an emergency situation, we can definitely do that. But we're going to try to get something set up here. And the good thing about having the rubberized bottom on this pack, I don't have to worry about setting it down. No moisture is going to penetrate through the bottom of the pack, which is a pretty nice bonus for this pack. But okay guys, I'll get it set up and we'll get right back with y'all. Well, this thing here is not awesome, but I was looking at that, and that could kind of serve as the start for our shelter. It's obviously I'm gonna check and make sure that's safely secured, so we'll just do that now. Some plastic from the flood. this piece is pretty rotten, but as far as laying some other branches and stuff across just for the sake of making a quickie shoulder, it worked just fine. This rotten, oh yeah, that's pretty solid. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so we already got that much work done for us now, so that's good. I can take the machete, trim up any little stabby pokey things that are in the way. But yeah, as a word of caution, knowing my area, if I need to do a more permanent base camp, got something my guys, cool. This is absolutely unacceptable. I need to go way up in there above the floodplain to do any kind of real base camp. So, but this is not an overnighter by any means and all that. So, and we should be good on the weather today. But just wanted to point that out, that you don't want to set up your base camp super close to water, because you know, if it floods, could be very, very, very bad. There's a down tree here, and I need to get something off the branches. That might come in handy. I'll grab that later. See some beer bottles over there. Okay, I'm gonna take the machete and try to procure some of that branch there, guys. Make some room to work. I don't necessarily need a whole lot of it. I'll cut that a little longer than I need, and I'll take care of trimming it up here a little bit later. So, I'm going to mark this, because I do need that to be more specific of a cut. Let's get our saw. That is a file. That should be enough. Yeah, be careful not to knock the camera over. It's pretty close to y'all. Stow that away so we don't lose it. Yep. Clear down here. It's more than I need, but that's fine. We can take care of that later. Far stiffer piece of wood than I want. However, that's just option one. If we find something better, I'll procure something better. Actually, see a little bit lighter branch there. we might check that out. We'll reset here and I'll come back to y'all. Yeah, this guy here might work for us as well. So I'll chop this one out. It's not very strong, so I have to be careful with what I use. Don't want it too thin, because if I get the fish on, I'm going to use this for a pole, and it could break it. So, alrighty, guys, we have another component. That is going to be a reel. However, I'm going to have to do some work with it first. Let me try to readjust the camera here. That way you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, now with that same tree, I just cut this round. However, we got some work to do to it first. Yeah. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to take this bark off, because that will not help us at all. This thing's peeling like a potato. Or maybe more like an apple. Alright, now basically what we're going to do, we're going to turn this into our spool. So, let's take our saw. We're just going to leave us some space. I want to do this all the way around. Or come on, do it on the other side too, but you got to leave some room to have some wood right here. Now keep the line down in there. And again, this is something to be cautious with. Go slow and steady, because you do not want to get a mechanical injury. I'm going to continue this all the way around on both sides. I'll get right back with y'all. That's just simply what I did. I didn't go super deep, not quite half the depth of the width of the saw, but more or less this is also to help me not get into the cheeks on the side here that I need to keep the line in. But now I'm going to get the knife blade out, and we're going to carve out that center, so we got a place to spool up our line. And this is pretty simple here. It's not going to be too complicated of a job. I'm going to flip it using that mark we cut in with our saw as a guide. Then we'll just start going all the way around, kind of doing small sections, spin it. Then what we'll do this, and we'll continue the process until we get this a little bit deeper, and I'll get right back with y'all. All right, I'm not quite finished yet, however, kind of getting the idea there. We're carving down on the sides, come back on the other side, and that's going to leave us with an actual spool. Alright guys, now we're just about to the point where this little thing's going to come into effect. This does have, like I said, an assortment of screws, and there are some that This kit is not as bought, it's been modified, but I've got a multitude of screws, and some specifically for the task, that I'm using it for today. It was in mind. So we're definitely going to be using this one. And get a hold of it. And can we get it in the focus? That little tiny guy there. We need one more. There we go. And that one. That right there, well, these three will be used on just the reel itself. So let me get set up for you guys to be able to see what I'm doing here. Our primary tools are going to be our awl, and we need our screwdriver. And of course our 3 different screws here. Okay, now first things first, I am going to put these screws back in this plastic container so I do not lose them. I do have plenty of extra, however, do not want to potentially waste. Well, actually, I tell you what, I can just stick them in my pocket. That'll work just as good. All right, now our spool we carved out. We're going to find roughly middle-ish, and there seems to be a bit of a, pardon me, dropping stuff, a little bit of a white pippy spot there. That's probably close enough, and it'll be the least amount of resistance. Now we're just simply going to take her awl, we're going to awl the way through. Sorry, that was practically a dad joke. All right, we're starting to come out the other side, so we're going to pull. That's no big deal. All right, now that we know the other end for sure, we'll just start this process back on the other side, so we open up a large enough channel for the screw. And this is really important with the wood I'm working with, because this stuff is highly likely to split and bust on me, so I'm going to have to be really careful and make sure I drill some pilot holes. I can't really just put the screws into the wood by itself without the pilot holes, or I'll probably damage, and if not completely destroy, the project I'm working on here. There's plenty more around me to make more, but it's just the fact that we're burning daylight while I'm doing all this stuff, so I don't have an infinite amount of time to get the job done, you know what I mean? All right, let's fish out the larger screw we got. Come here. Yep, of course I got the smallest one. Put the smallest one over there. And that is the other, not the biggest one. Oh, now we finally got it. Maybe. Come here. Oh, no wonder I was having trouble getting out of there. Had a big old mess down there in that pocket. Okay. Now then. Typically on these things are rarely perfectly symmetrical. So I'm going to kind of look down on the spot. This is going to be for the next biggest screw where I'm going to put it, and I think I'm going to put it right here. But we'll get to that after I take care of this part here. All right, now then, we're simply going to go ahead and put that all the way through now. And it's okay for the diameter of the hole here to be a little bit bigger than the screw, even if it's loose, because we actually kind of want that because we need this thing to be able to spin. So actually, I think it's a little too tight. I'm going to have to open that back up a little bit more. Because the spool will have to be able to spin freely. We won't have quite the ability to easily wind our line back up on it. So we'll grab the awl. We'll just come in and do it again. We'll just go in a little bit deeper than we did last time and open it. The big thing is we don't want to make such a large diameter that will push the head of the screw all the way through. I do got washers in that kit, so if that is an issue, I can in fact take care of that. But the less amount of my resources that I use, the better. However, if I got to use it, it's no big deal. All right, let's see how that did for us. In this case, I'm actually just okay with it just pushing. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. It just pushed in. All right. Almost not enough room there. I need to... okay, I'll be right back, guys. I want to... Basically, we're going to make a recess because I need more of this to protrude through. So, real simple, guys. Basically, all I did was take the tip of the knife, carve that out. Basically, I made a countersink because I needed some more thread available to put this into the long piece of wood we're going to use for the actual rod. And often, if I have trouble with this piece grinding out on the side of the fishing rod part, I'll actually put a washer here. That'll give it a little bit of space so the side of this part's not rubbing. So that may be a little thing we do later if we got to. All right, now this next one is one that often when something usually breaks doing one of these, this is where it usually breaks. So we're going to come to the spot. We got a little bit of meat. Then we'll come down a little low, lower than I normally do, just for the sake of hopefully we do not damage the piece here. But we're going to do another countersink. Or not a countersink, a pilot hole. We got to make sure it's just the right depth. But definitely we want to make sure we don't cause an issue where we're forcing something to destroy this thing. All right, this is our other smaller screw. This one. So now it's not, and when this really starts, getting a little tight on you, don't force it. All right, I think I'm going to stop right there. That's just fine. Now, normally, but do it, I was limited to 2 items. I'd actually have cheap pins, and I would actually cut a plastic piece to fit right through here, and you can grab a hold of that, and it makes it easier to... You can do it with a stick too. Just hollow out a small section of stick and pop that in there. All right, now we're going to get down to where we need our last one. And typically I put it, we got straight up and down. The next one's going to go dead center right here. And that's our littlest screw, so we obviously we don't need a very deep hole here. And again, this is another one, if you're not careful, depending on what kind of wood you're using for this project, you absolutely can destroy this thing doing this part too. Because you have to actually force this last screw down at the end. I think we may be safe with that. Now we're going to initially put this in. We're not going to completely tighten it all the way down. And obviously, if you just a smaller diameter screw, you need one that's got somewhat of a head on it to wrap your string, to hold secure it. But if you can find an even smaller diameter screw for this particular job, is all the better. So that's just kind of how we're going to start that for the time being. Okay. All right, I'm going to take our cordage. Definitely not ideal for fishing with, but this is what we got. I'm going to get a length of this, draw it out, and I'll get back with you, and then we'll actually put our reel onto our pole. Okay, guys, it was that stick we cut down. Now, there's a reason I wanted the Y, and I particularly like to get one where the bottom Y is actually naturally sticking out a little bit further than what's going to be the main part of the pole. And the reason for that is that way, when I put the reel roughly right here-ish, that will actually help offset it a little bit and maybe help keep it from rubbing so much. However, I'm going to go ahead and utilize a washer, because I find it does tend to help. Just a real simple small washer, and we'll just put that on there. And I believe that might just do it right there. And the good thing is, if that's not quite where it needs to be, we can be moved after the fact. Now, there's a neat thing about how this in particular kind of works. You want it obviously loose at the beginning. So we're definitely getting some rubbing right there. It's catching up top there. We could probably just take our knife and carve that out enough to where that clears. And I'll do that, and we'll come right back. Okay, now that we got that, here we go. It's basically all we did. We just took our knife, carved off a little bit of that, and even some on the other side. I was saying there, I lost my train of thought. When you're keeping your multi-tool on you, once you're done using this or you're transporting it, you can actually just screw this down tight enough to stop the reel from spinning completely. Not tight enough yet. There we go. Okay, we are not done yet. I'll get us prepped up for our eyelets for this thing. We have 3 different size eyelets, so we'll go the largest one closest to the reel, second largest one in the middle, and this smallest one will be towards the tip. But first, I am going to cut off the excess here on our rod here. We're going to cut some of that off there. We no longer need that much.
But I am going to leave some more on there in case we need to move the reel or the spot we have it currently into wears out on us. So we've still got at least a couple more spots we can actually transfer that if we need to. There we go. Now then, this first one is not going to be like dead in line here. We're actually going to be offset. And what we're going to try to do is line up the center of a reel roughly, as much as we can, to this eyelet. And then our next eyelet is going to be slightly drifted back towards the center of the stick. So we're going to go a distance of there. And I said, I tend not to worry about working with perfect. Of course, obviously, as you do things, you get better at it. But as I said, typically every time we're out doing videos and stuff like this, we're up against the clock. So got to make stuff happen sooner rather than later. So trying to find the perfect stick, the perfect this, the perfect that, make it the perfect. No, I don't necessarily always got enough time to do that. Okay, now we're going roughly the second eye hook here. We're going to go close to about halfway. So we're going to go right there. That's getting pretty close. This one's going to be almost centered, just slightly off center towards the side that our other eye hook is in. Then our last one will be centered. This does create more drag on the line, but this actually helps us bring it into the center of the reel, since it's not like a normal fishing reel where it's where the reel itself would be in center as well. So this is how we're just kind of working around that issue. All right, our last one. I cut that off at a angle here too, and I'm going to roughly put this one here somewhat like that. And this one at the top is usually the most iffy. It may not hold if you get a substantial fish on there. Okay, we're in there decent. A bird back there laughing at us. Okay, now then. I prefer to have actual fishing line, but we're going to have to use this because due to our limited items, that's what we have. I'm probably going to pull out somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 20 feet of this, 30 at the most, depending on how much is going to fit on that reel. All right, that'll be close. Now we're going to not actually, of course you could, but because this stuff can and will unravel, we're going to separate it with heat. And I do that because it'll automatically melt the ends. We got our ends are melted. Now we don't have to worry about this thing on well, that one didn't quite go very well. But I want to keep the her cordage from unfurling on us. So, and if you can't do that, just after you cut it, real simple, just a little overhand knot in it to stop it from unraveling on you. melt this up a little bit better. Yeah. Now, normally with the fishing line, I do a fisherman's knot and tie it down on that screw. But the knot on this is going to take up a lot of space. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply twist this to where that comes open. I'm going to slip that over that screw, the one that's in the center of a reel. All right, I think you guys can see that. All right, now we're just going to twist that until that opens up. Now I'm going to try to gently, there we go. I'll twist that again tight. Well, I got ahead of myself, guys. I am sorry. We have to run that through our eyelets first. I'm sure there's quite a few of you that were snickering and laughing at me as like that big dummy. Okay. There we go. Oh, I got wrapped around the mic. All right, now then. Try this again. With less me being silly. All right, there we go again. We'll twist that. Back on there. Twist that back in tight. Now I'm going to put a little bit of pressure here. Get my thumb in there. Put some tension, pin it with my thumb. Get back to our screwdriver, and I'm going to pray when I'm doing this I do not split this thing open, because that means I'll have to start over on the reel. Okay, I think we made it. It could go a little bit more. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little afraid to. Okay, that's as far as I'm going. If I'd done this with a piece of hardwood and I made a better pilot hole, I think I've been brave enough to done that. But since that's not the case, let's not break our project. All right, now simply I'm going to take my pointer and thumb finger so we can keep some pressure, and we'll spin that around. Oop, I need to loosen that up a little bit. That way we can spin it freely. I'm already not liking how that is in there. However, it'll have to do. Not sure if you guys can see that. Let's try that. Like I said, this is far thicker than what I'm used to using on this. I usually use like about, I like to say 10-pound fishing lines, usually what I normally use on this. So we're definitely not going to get near as much on this smaller spool. But like I said, ultimately that's fine. We'll get what we can on it, which I think we're just about there. Yep, that's looking like that's about it. Okay. Now, since that's locked down, I can put some pressure up here on that. And I'd say we were lucky if we got 20 foot of that on there. However, that's all right. Say we got about 18 feet on there. But that may be just enough to work with what we're going to be doing. Now we have another issue. I do not have a hook. So we are going to have to either make one or find one. We're on a riverbank. I haven't taken the time to look around yet, so first of all, we're going to look around and see if we can't scavenge one. But if not, try to get that bad boy in the view there. All right, we'll see what we can do. If nothing else, we'll make a gourd chuck. What we got here is very dry, dead little hunk of wood and another stick off the same piece. We're going to make a strike indicator. So this is going to be pretty simple. Lower this down. You can actually see what I'm doing. All right, we're just going to take our knife, put our stick down there. We'll go ahead and debark this thing. That'll actually help us see it. But we're going to reshape this thing a little bit. That way it'll help it sit straight up and down in the water. And having that little bit more white color will definitely help us see it too. All right, so this looks like the larger end. It's not by much, but we're going to taper. We're going to try to leave this end up here larger. Maybe we'll just chamfer the top a little bit. That's pretty dead and rotten. It's not the best piece of wood, but it definitely floats. I took another chunk of this off the same piece and threw it into the river there, see if it float, and it floats quite well. Now, slightly teardrop shape is what we're going for here, but not quite so narrow at the bottom. But that's the shape we're going to be after here. And what that'll do, that will allow this thing to float straight up and down. But basically I'm going to just slightly spin it, take a little bit off each time, and we're going to do that until we slightly teardrop shape this. And after I get finished with that, I'll get right back to you and show you what it looks like. Okay, that's roughly what we got. I think that should do. Now what we'll have to do, we're going to take our awl again, find about the dead center. Then we are going to make a cavity all the way through this thing. And it has a kind of a little bit of slightly pithy center here. So that was great. That's going to make this so much less of a struggle for us. All right. Now we're going to find that pithy center roughly right here. We're going to come through on this other side and make this match up. All right, now next is pretty simple. We are going to take that piece of stick and we are going to carve a pin out. And what that was going to do for us, that's going to pin in place our bobber on our line. Now there's a lot of debris here. I mean, I could almost grab any random stick laying off the ground here. That might just work. Okay, now like this has to be a tapered stick. You want one end narrow and have it taper up to a larger tip. That way this pin doesn't want to slide all the way through. So let's match this up a little bit. It's a little curved. That may not work. We'll try it though. So we want a little bit sticking out. So we'll mark that, and that's where we're going to break this off. All right. Now we're basically going to carve this thing down to where the latter part at the top, you know, it starts fitting in pretty snug. You have to give it a good little push to seat it in. So this is going to take some carving and fitting as we go. Again, having a really good sharp knife helps do these kind of tasks out here. You're less likely to hurt yourself. You don't have to work near as hard at it. Now, another thing like I can do, since I didn't have the luxury of taking a sharpening tool with me, got my leather belt. After I use this for a little bit, I can strop my knife blades on this leather, and it will hone these things back. And like I said, the important thing is to kind of keep at it. Don't go a long period of time in between doing this. Just keep it stropped up while you're using it. There's no compound on that belt too, so it's just simply stropping the edge back. Okay, we're going to try to fit that real quick. Okay, not enough. And we definitely, there's a thing, our very center of this is a smaller diameter than up here. That's just the nature of using an awl like that. If you want to be able to make longer drilling holes in further in, you'll almost have to either make or find a dedicated awl, or take a gimlet with you or something of that nature. But mind you, like I said, you know, I was limited to my kit for this adventure here, so I have to improvise with everything I got. So that's where having some good skills come in to compensate for lack of gear. And always make sure that the gear that you do take, you can get a lot out of. Okay. Now we'll fit that again real quick. That's getting close. It's almost come out the other side. We just need to fin it up a little bit. All right. I'll go ahead and take care of this, and I'll get right back to y'all. There it is, guys. Pretty basic, simple. You'll put your line through that hole first, and then we're going to put this right in behind it, nice and tight, so I don't slip off there. And we'll get right to that here in just a second. End of our line and our bobber. We're going to feed our line through there, and we're just going to start drawing our line through. I had a bunch of extra on this thing because it did actually not accept all of it on the reel. Okay, now we are just going to slide this little guy in. And now it won't slide no further with this wedge tightly in there. So now our bobber is affixed. Okay, guys, we have got to start looking. We need some more items here. I walked clear back to where we first came in, and I found a looks like a roofing nail, but they drive them down into the top of that guardrail you saw in the foreground or background. Down on them posts, there was one that was pretty well completely popped out, so I might be able to turn that into a cord hook. But I was walking through here and I found some interesting items, a couple usables. Spin the camera. That, I believe, at one time was an apple snail. Don't know if there's any rotten meat in that. It's still sealed. we're going to find out later. And shoved up under this log is a nasty, rotten, I assume that's old soda. That will come in handy. So I'm going to leave these here. That's really close to where we're at. But we're going to continue on down. See if we can't find anything for containers, hooks. I mean, you know, sometimes you can find fishing line and fishing lures out here. Try to avoid all the goose poop. But I also want to show this bush, which is well above my head. See all that dirt and debris? That water was somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 foot high right through here. But we can carry on a little ways up here. So I'm going to turn off the camera now, and if I find anything interesting, I'll get right back with you guys. We're getting into some swampy stuff here, but there's a cup. I saw another styrofoam cup way back there, but plastic cup. Since we got a cleaner styrofoam cup back here, I'll get on the way back. And I got a big debris pile. Bottles. Now, if I had some gloves, I might sift through that to try to find some hooks, but being as I ain't got gloves, I don't think I want to do that. Don't need tetanus or whatever have you. However, I'm going to continue looking, but as far as finding hooks and stuff right now, it's not looking good. Okay, we got another big debris field here. Oh, it's a kind of perfume or something like that, but I may keep this, try to use that as a sinker. Though it's a little extreme, you can use some of these bottles for, I'm going to throw out like a kind of like a trout line. You can actually use bottles for strike indicators on those. Piece of dimensional lumber, might take that to sit on. A lot of goose poop out here. But yeah, it's not looking good for hooks. There's a decently clean soda can. We'll take it too. I heard something almost sound like metal or glass in there. All right. Well, I'll keep looking and get back to you if I find anything. Okay, guys, here's our haul. Nail. Soda can. Nasty 2-liter. I'm not sure. Shaped like fish, styrofoam, floaty things. Another bottle. Somewhat decently clean styrofoam cup. We're really hoping to find us some tackle out here, but that flood may actually worked against us. It may have pulled whatever was available way on down the river, because it was apparently, actually where I'm sitting now, it must have been 7 feet 8 high. However, turn this into a crab trap maybe. So I'll get back with y'all in just a minute. All right, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna come back about right here. Or cut this thing completely off, and we're going to try to keep it as straight as possible. As possible. I'm telling you, all the smell coming out of this thing. It is not awesome. Let's not lose that. Actually, we just might as well, we need to kind of... God, this thing stinks. So, I don't know how long that's been in there, but... Okay. Now, might need to actually cut. That's a pretty small opening. So I am going to actually cut that. Let's allow some larger crabs to be able to actually get inside that thing. Just about went further than I wanted to there. There we go. Now we can take her awl, screw some holes in through there, and we'll just take some cordage and we'll tie it so there's, you know, less likely it will actually come out of there on us. And we have the luxury of having quite a large amount of cordage, so we can be a little bit greedy with it. So I'm just going to make some holes through both pieces all the way around. And I'll get back with you because it'll take a few minutes. Now this procedure is pretty simple. Some angry geese back here. We're just going to start threading this thing through the holes we made. That one somehow got off center on me. And basically, we'll go all the way around like that, and we're going to sew this thing together. Alright guys, we are getting some worms. We are literally just moving some dead logs. Not sure where the camera angle is, but yeah, the worms are quite easy to find. They're just under this layer of rotten leaves and other. Oh, there's a nice one. Moving this around because I can't tell where the camera's at. A little tiny one in there. It's so small, not worth using. Oh, there's another one. Put a little bit of dirt in this cut. That'll keep the worms alive. Okay, I'm going to go keep hunting these worms, and I'll get back with y'all. I just realized something. I was overthinking things. I went back to that section of guard rail, and what I was able to get out with my multi-tool. I got this galvanized nail there, and this old rusty fluted nail. I'm not sure if that's a tip or just rusted in half, but I was just in the process of rigging this pull-up. Got a barrel swivel there. Inside this thing, I also have, if I can get them out of here, different sizes of swivels with the little, I have some larger ones, but that's just what I grabbed first. Yeah, these. I was just thinking, I was pulling that out and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for sinker weight. I was like, well, maybe I can just clip a couple of these onto that barrel swivel. And I got one of the largest ones I got with me right now. And either bend this little piece or clip it off and take the file of my Leatherman and put a point on it. Kind of got a hook. So I want to try that. So, and also, I'm going to unbraid a section of this, and that is going to be on the other end of our barrel swivel back here. Yeah, goodness, this thing is fighting me. We'll have a thinner line leading off to that piece. It's going to be our hook. So once I get all that rigged up, and I'll get back here and show you all what I'm talking about. There we go. You guys can see this is much lighter and thinner, and that's just one ply out of the 3 wrap that this thing has. So now we have a much lighter yet still decently strong cord right here, and that will be what we will put our makeshift hook and bait on. And real fast, okay. I think what may be the easiest is actually to just go ahead and cut that. And I want to try to cut it at an angle. That way we get a bit of a sharp point already on there before I bother taking a file to it. It's a little tricky. There we go. So now we cut that little backwards bent hook piece off. And now I'm going to sharpen that tip a little bit. Shouldn't actually need a whole lot. It's not too bad as is. So we're going to take our file and we're just going to make that just a little bit more pronounced. Let's get that a little bit sharper. And I don't know what I'm looking at with the strength here. I've never actually done this before, so I don't really know how well this thing is going to withstand a fish on it. I have no idea. This thing is not super strong, I can tell you that. So if we get too much weight on there, I'm pretty sure we'll lose whatever fish we get. What I'm going to try to do here real quick, I'm going to straighten this, and I'm going to try to get our bend a little bit further down. Make it more proper fish hook here. This is fairly delicate wire, so I don't expect a whole lot out of it as far as its strength, but it's worth a shot. So now I'm going to come here. I want to put a small, little bit of a bend. I want to bring that back just a little more. A little bit of a bend there. I'm going to re-straighten the shank on it a little bit. Now it's a little harder to do. I've only got my hand instead of another pair of pliers here, so I'm just going to roll it gently. I'm going to try to get that more traditional hook shape going on there. Like I said, I don't got a lot of faith and strength on that, but since we're in the situation we're in, there, I even twisted that around because that back piece there was kind of in the way. So now our hook's more exposed. I said I don't got a lot of faith in the strength on that, but it's something at least. And I'm gonna put this on our line here and get a worm on it, and we're gonna try it out. All right, guys, let's see if we can accidentally catch something here. Okay, we'll leave that there for now.
Okay, well, it works. And that's not really good eating size. However, right there is some premium catfish bait. If we can get a rig for our hand line or bank line set up, there we go. Okay, guys. Not sure this is going to work, but we got our line in and out of the fish there, and our nail kind of threw it again sideways, but we're going to throw that out and see if we get lucky and catch catfish. It's about time to wrap up our little adventure. We caught one fish, but I was hoping for a little bit more. Made another modification to that. Added another eye hook there to help keep that thing spooling right and deepen and widen the spool itself. But the bobber worked pretty good. This idea with the hook actually did work. It weren't about dried up on there. Thought that was pretty clever. Doesn't have a barb on it, so when you catch a fish on it, you have to actually just get with it and get it in, or it'll pop the hook out. All in all, had a pretty good time. Look forward to getting a chance to get out there and do some more like a bushcraft overnighter thing. But this was sort of our bushcrafty project for this little adventure. So thank every one of you guys who participated, chose how many items to take out on this adventure. So probably do it again sometime soon. Might make it a little more challenging, and I'll limit it, maybe just a maximum of 5. Who knows? But that, hope everybody enjoyed watching. Appreciate y'all. Please like, share, subscribe. Let's get the channel growing big as we can. That, see y'all in another video.